In the you try it of example 33, we're looking to find the y-intercept and the zeros, also known as the x-intercepts, of each of the following. Our first function is f of x equals x squared plus 14x plus 33. We're going to look for the y-intercept first. In fact, that's the easier of the two. To find the y-intercept, you let x equal 0, solve for y. So I'm going to change f of x to y equals, substitute in 0 for x, so 0 squared plus 14 times 0 plus 33. And what we're going to see is our answer comes out to be the constant 33. The first two terms will zero out. 0 squared is 0, 14 times 0 is 0, and 0 plus 33 gives me 33. So there's a little bit of a shortcut here when I want to find the y-intercept. I'm really looking at the constant there, and the point would be 0, 33. To find the x-intercept, I'm going to let y equal 0 and do algebra. Alright, so I'm going to have f of x is 0 equals x squared plus 14x plus 33. And I can't get the x by itself. A lot of times students will want to subtract 33 and try to do some sort of factoring there. And in order for you to factor, it's got to be set equal to 0. So we're going to go and do reverse FOIL method. We've done this before. To get x squared, I multiply x times x in the parentheses. Then I look to the last number, 33, and think about what multiplies to 33, but then what's going to add to the term in the middle, 14. Combination of numbers would be 3 times 11 and 3 plus 11 to give me the 14 and the 33. So in my factoring, it's going to be x plus 3 times x plus 11. Using the zero factor rule there that we had on the other page, we're going to set each factor, zero product rule, x plus 3 equals 0, x plus 11 equals 0, and then solve for x. So we have x equals -3 or x equals -11. The points, if I need to write them as a point, would be -3 comma 0 and -11 comma 0, and we put those in parentheses to indicate points. For letter B, the y-intercept of gx equals 3x squared minus 8x plus 5 is going to be just the positive 5. So the point is x was 0, the y value is 5, the point 0.05 in parentheses. X-intercept, we're going to do a little bit more algebra here. Let y equal 0. So 0 times 3x squared minus 8x plus 5. There's nothing that can be factored out of all three terms, and I really want there to be a number 1 in front of the x squared. So I'm going to do that, multiply, and then remember to divide back in the number 3 at the end. So I'm going to rewrite this as just x squared minus 8x and take the 3 times the 5 and make it 15 at the end. This makes my factoring a little bit easier. What multiplies to x squared, what multiplies to 15 but adds to -8. So we're looking at a 5-3 combination. Both numbers have to be negative in order for me to add to get -8. So in my factor, it's going to be x minus 5 times x minus 3. Before I set each factor equal to 0, though, I have to remember that I did multiply by 3 here. So I have to divide each factor by 3 before going further. reduce any fraction down that you can. So 3 over 3 is the 1. 5/3 doesn't reduce, but I can move the 3 up in front of the x and make it the factor 3x minus 5. And I've now factored that original problem of 3x squared minus 8x plus 5. If I FOIL out the factor 3x minus 5 with the factor x minus 1, I'm going to get back 3x squared minus 8x plus 5. From here, set each factor equal to 0, solve for x. So 3x minus 5 equals 0, add 5 to both sides, 3x equals 5, divide by 3, x equals 5/3. So one of my points is going to be 5/3, comma 0. The other one, set x minus 1 equal to 0, solve for x equals 1, or the point 1, 0. All right. You've got to remember that little trick though. If you're going to do the multiply and make the problem easier to factor, you're going to have to divide back through by that number as well. For letter C, h of x equals x squared plus 4x minus 60. To find the y-intercept, I focus on that constant, which is negative 60. So my y-intercept is going to be at 0, negative 60. My x-intercept, I'm going to let y equal 0. So I have 0 equals x squared plus 4x minus 60. This time I have a 1 in front, so there's no need to do that little trick that we did on part B. I don't need to multiply by anything, I just need to go ahead and factor it. Write down my 2 sets of parentheses. What multiplies to x squared would be x times x. So an x will go in each factor. What multiplies then to the last number, negative 60, but also adds to positive 4. So I'm thinking of a 10-6 combination. One of those numbers, though, is going to have to be a negative to be negative 60 when multiplied. So positive 10 times negative 6, positive 10 plus negative 6 gives me the positive 4. So in my factor, it's going to be positive 10, negative 6. Now I didn't multiply by anything at the very beginning, so I can just go ahead and straight up set x plus 10 equal to 0, x minus 6 equal to 0, and then solve for x. X equals negative 10, x equals 6. My 2 points, 10, 0, oops, make that negative 10, 0, and positive 6, 0. Letter D is the function f of x equals negative 4x squared plus 22. Notice this function is missing that x term in the middle. So this is one that I can find the y-intercept like I normally do. Look at the constant. My y-intercept is going to be 0, 22. But for my x-intercept, I'm going to let y equal 0, but I'm not going to be doing the factoring that I did before. Since there's only one x term in the problem, I'm going to get it by itself. So I'm going to move the negative 4x squared to the other side of the equation by adding it to both sides, coming up with the equation 4x squared equals 22. Finish getting the x by itself by dividing both sides by 4. So I have x squared equals 22/4. Don't change it to a decimal, just leave it as it is right here, but take the square root to both sides of the equation, putting in your plus or minus. All right. So let's check this out. This is x equals plus or minus. Now I can break up the radical with division or multiplication. So this is the square root of 22 over the square root of 4. Plus or minus the square root of 22, I don't know, but the square root of 4 is 2. And my two x-intercepts then would be at positive square root 22 over 2, comma 0, and negative square root 22 over 2, comma 0. I didn't need to go through that reverse FOIL method because there weren't three terms there. Now letter G, or rather letter E, the function g of x equals x squared minus 12x plus 27. You know, the y-intercept's going to be the easy peasy one here. That's just the number 27. 0, 27 is the point. The x-intercept, though, now that I have my three terms back, I'm going to let y equal 0. So 0 equals x squared minus 12x plus 27. And then go ahead and do my reverse FOIL again. So two sets of parentheses to get x squared, x times x, to get positive 27 when you multiply, but negative 12 when you add. You have to come up with the right combination of numbers, and sometimes it takes a little bit of doing. I'm going to use 9, 3, but now pay attention. 9 times 3 is 27, but positive 9 plus 3 is not negative 12. I'm going to have to put negatives on both the 9 and the 3. So in my factor, it's going to be x minus 9, x minus 3. Now, I didn't have to do the multiply to get the x squared, you know, there's a 1 in front. So I don't have to worry about dividing here. I just set each factor equal to 0, solve for x to find my x-intercepts, or my zeros of the function. One is going to be x equals 9, the other x equals 3, and then write it as a point, parenthesis 9 comma 0, close parenthesis and open parenthesis 3 comma 0, close parenthesis. Those are your two x-intercepts.